Hello, thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Booton, an independent financial planner at KLO Financial Services. We're proud to work with some of the best industry names in terms of investment managers, funds, and providers for the benefit of our clients. We also like to give a platform to industry specialists to communicate directly with our followers and clients. Massimo Vanni is our dedicated investment analyst at KLO. He spends much of his time analysing investment options that are independently available to our clients. Where required, we also seek to incorporate some of the best-in-class responsible investment solutions within our client portfolios. Today, we're especially pleased to welcome Tim Brown of Janus Henderson to talk to us about our Global Sustainable Equity Fund. Good morning, Tim. Can you explain the strategy of the fund and how it is positioned for the current market cycle?
Sure, and Matt, thank you very much for having me. So I think the thing to make clear is that our primary objective is to generate leading investment returns. So what we're trying to do is we're looking to compound wealth faster than our benchmark by constructing a highly differentiated portfolio, looking at about a 90% active share, and we're really trying to invest in global leaders, companies with the best franchises, companies with products and services that are considered to be leading. And ultimately, we believe that companies which are on the right side of sustainability issues or trends, they're more likely to have resilient growth characteristics, more likely to compound wealth. We believe that we invest in really great companies. We believe in the products they are producing, which are going to have a really important role to play in society. And we believe that investing through a lens of sustainability helps us to find companies with resilience, growth characteristics that are more likely to compound that wealth. And really that helps us avoid those companies which are less likely to have characteristics which we believe to be on the wrong side of sustainability sort of issues, less likely to have that resilient growth, and actually have greater discontinuity risk. And we believe that the consideration of sustainability issues really helps us make better investment decisions, and it helps us to anticipate change, to look into the future, and to ultimately identify risk. So what we're ultimately doing is we're investing through this lens of sustainability. We align the portfolio to 10 sustainable investment themes. Every single stock in the portfolio has a minimum of 50% revenue tied to one of our 10 environmental or social sustainability themes. And for us, that gives us great clarity in how we seek to invest.
Tim, could you please provide a couple of examples in terms of stock selection and how they fit into the sustainability mandate of the fund?
Sure. So when what I touched on earlier was that we look to align our portfolio to 10 environmental and social themes. Now, what's really important for us is it's not just about isolating great sustainability stock stories. It's around answering the question of, are these companies going to, as I mentioned before, compound and grow over time? And we really think about this in the prism of the triple bottom line, the 3 Ps, which are the people, the planet, and profits, or the economics. And what we're trying to satisfy for every single stock that comes into the portfolio is to answer 2 very basic questions. Question 1 is the world a better place because of this company? And question 2 is there a sustained growth opportunity? So we have to answer these, they're quite basic questions, but with quite complex answers. So that's what we're looking to do with every single stock in the portfolio. So, for example, NVIDIA is an example of one of our holdings, which is mapped across to our efficiency theme and our quality of life theme. NVIDIA, I'm sure some of the listeners will be familiar with, a US-based company. They design, develop, market graphics processing units, or GPUs. But NVIDIA's GPUs use up to 90% less energy than central processing units for computer graphics. Now, the increased processing power, efficiency of computing, and in turn, efficiency is a huge benefit from NVIDIA's products. but also, you know, they have shown over time that they are, you know, market leading in sort of their area of focus. So when we look at that from a positive impact analysis, I think we've answered it from an efficiency standpoint, but also we have to answer that question of the financials. So looking at their revenues have grown from 10 billion in 2018 to 27 billion predicted for end of this year. They've got a very strong net cash balance sheet, which is around 10 billion US dollars. They're generating huge amounts of free cash flow generation, got really high operating margins. And I think what's most important for us is to identify with NVIDIA that they have a really strong culture of innovation. Those are really important points for us when trying to identify these companies. Another example I could give you would be Evoqua Water Technologies. So they're another sort of technology firm with a sole focus on water treatments. Its core technology is really focused on purification, removing impurities from water, rather than neutralizing them through additions of chemicals. So it's a much cleaner process. I think in 2020 they purified, I think it was around, well, it's close to 400 billion liters of water every day in terms of their purification. So it's a huge impact, and the fact they're not using chemicals within their process really answers that sort of, is the world the best place for this company question. But then from a financial perspective, they're really resilient. 2/3 of their revenues come from service and aftermarket. They've got really high and improving EBITDA margins. Free cash flow yield is strong as well. And their compound growth rates was actually over 10%, and will be for the next 2 or 3 years. So it's a really strong company. They are sort of market leading in terms of the competition, but they are providing a huge benefit to society and the environment through not using chemicals within their process.
Okay, thank you, Tim. How confident are you any risk of greenwashing is well managed within the fund?
The starting point for us here is that, you know, we actually celebrated our 30-year anniversary of this strategy last year. So we've been doing this for a really long time, and more market entrants have come in, and we've seen, you know, that there are different ways of doing sustainability. What we have really sort of tried to do is we've tried to build a really robust framework around how we identify companies and how we fit them into the portfolio. Now, when it comes to greenwashing, one of the things which I think we really sort of rail against is not being transparent with clients. And we, as a matter of principle, as part of sort of baked into our investment principles, are that we are highly transparent. So reporting is a fundamentally important role in terms of what we are doing. Everything that we do, we put out high levels of reporting to our clients, which provides the transparency. So ultimately, our investors can see exactly what we are doing, and that we are ultimately, you know, achieving our stated objectives. I mean, ultimately, the thing to be clear here is that we have a sustainability objective, and in having that sustainability objective, you know, we have to be able to measure how we are doing this. So, for example, we map our portfolios, every single stock within the portfolio, to each of our 10 sustainability themes. We do carbon footprint analysis, which is published in our annual sustainability report. We also map the portfolio on an annual basis to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and we actually push that analysis out as well in our annual sustainability report. So I think what I'm trying to get to here is that we've been doing this for a huge amount of time, and we provide a huge amount of transparency in our reporting to our clients. And I think for that is probably the most key thing here. And, you know, really evolving with regulation and trying to, you know, as more and more data becomes available for us to be more precise in how we measure things, is to really do that work so we can report back to our clients, because that's really important.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Does investing in sustainability theme, Tim, make sense in terms of getting a financial return for your money?
I think the short answer is yes. If we had to characterize investment themes that we're focused on, it would be areas like digitalization, electrification, decarbonization. We believe that these are, dynamics that are impacting every sector, every country, and we think that these are highly established long-term themes, which have really been accelerated by trends from 2020, and we ultimately believe that these are, really powerful agents of change with regards to both societal and environmental goals. We see that there's a huge amount of alignment between think of decarbonization. This is clearly the direction of travel. So investing into businesses which are going to help with that transition away from carbon-based technologies is really going to be the direction of travel for the majority of the world. So we think just by focusing on an area like decarbonization is going to really accelerate over the coming years. If you think about something like digitalization, it's playing a really positive role in economic development, and for that matter, social empowerment. And we think we are really at the early stages of the age of sort of disruption with these sort of, I think, really powerful generational trends. The need to electrify our economies is, I think it's clear for most people to see. So, we're in this sort of process now where we are beginning that transition phase. And we think that, the electrification of something like the global automotive industry is going to completely change the dynamics of that industry long term. So we do believe that naturally, the economy is moving towards or in the direction of these three powerful themes of digitalization, electrification, and decarbonization. And ultimately, by finding companies which are exposed to these particular areas, we think we're going to find businesses which are going to grow for many years to come. Excellent.
Tim, thanks very much for your time today and your really comprehensive answers to the questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone that's watching. Hope you've enjoyed the content and found it useful and informative. If you want more information about responsible investing at KLO Financial Services, please do feel free to contact us. We would be delighted to hear from you. Thanks once again, Tim.
Thank you.